What you are listening to now is the Central Indiana Sports Report podcast number 349.2. Elijah Poe's, Dave Chanley's, and Michelle Garmon's reaction to the IndyCar race in Portland. Of course, we're going to be talking about Alex Palou's championship, Will Power's and Team Penske's first win of the year in what was another excellent race. Another excellent performance on the broadcast by Fox, and the controversial Conor Daly versus Christian Rasmussen incident. We will be taking the week off for the IndyCar report, but it will return next week when we will also be previewing and reacting to the race in Milwaukee. And if you want more Central Indiana Sports Report, please go subscribe at Apple, Amazon, SoundCloud, Spotify, or YouTube.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome, IndyCar fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report and our reaction to Sunday's Portland Grand Prix in Portland, Oregon. One of the road courses that goes furthest back in the series, and a fantastic race, and another just great race today for the IndyCar series. I think this was race number 16. I think they're 15 for 16 this year. It was a big day for Will Power, who got the first win for Penske this year, avoiding their first winless season in 27 years. Christian Lundgaard was the runner-up. It looked like for a long time he might win the race, but fell 1.5 seconds short of Will Power's pace. And then Alex Palou finished third, but big day for Alex Palou, his fourth championship in his sixth year in the IndyCar series, his fourth championship in the last 5 years, his third in a row. Guys, we have to start talking all-time great now, right?
Oh, yes, most definitely.
Absolutely. Tied with Mario Andretti and Dario in championships, and he's just in his sixth year in IndyCar, and he's, 28? It's unreal.
Just turned 28 recently, yeah.
Just turned 28 and already has 4 IndyCar championships and no signs of slowing down.
No, he doesn't. And I'll tell you what, and I know it was a great run for Will Power and Lundgaard and everything, but, Palou and that team, they just continue to show why they're the best. I mean, that save he made late in the race, and he wasn't, and he got back up to the back end of Lundgaard. It shows you just how great a driver he is. There are a lot of guys that wouldn't have been able to save it or do what he did at there.
No.
Foyt has 7 championships. Those, of course, were in the USAC days. Scott Dixon, 6. And now Alex Palou is tied with Mario Andretti and Dario Franchitti with 4, the third most championships of all time. Elijah, that kind of puts it in perspective.
It does. It just shows how great he is. To think of all the things he's done in only 6 years. Mario Andretti was in IndyCar for a very, very long time and only has 4 championships. And arguably,
he also won a couple world championships in Formula One. So,
well, yeah. But still comparing seasons, he's got Alex Palou beat by a long shot. And seeing Palou have this dominance with the 10 car, as Greg and I discussed about a week and a half ago, that 10 crew as a whole has just been phenomenal for the last couple of decades. And I'm not sure we're going to see a driver this dominant for a long time.
The Fox crew at the end, they said he could easily have 8 championships by the time he's 35 because he's just 28. It's amazing when you think about that.
If I was going to predict whether that would happen or not, I would predict that it wouldn't. Too many things can happen, but you're right. There is definitely a chance. No doubt about it at this point. You would have to put him as the favorite the next 5 years going forward, right?
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Pato is great. He's not going to run this series like he did this year, I don't believe, going forward, but he could still win the championship and not even be this dominant.
You're right. But like Elijah said too, and like we've talked about, he's great, but why I think he has to be the favorite and why I wouldn't count him out for those 8 because as talented as he is as a driver, that 10 crew is just it's just fantastic as well. And as long as Chip Ganassi, I'm not sure when he fought to keep him. So how long does his current contract with Chip Ganassi Racing? How long is that for?
I think he's got a couple years. I think he's got a couple years left.
I'm pretty sure Formula One's going to come calling at this point.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that with the 2 Cadillac seats opening up in 2026 next year, Formula One, I would be very, very shocked if he isn't one of those drivers to have their name in the hat when things are said and done.
You're probably right. I'm sure it's right. It'll be interesting to see what he does, because if he's like under contract with Chip Ganassi and everything. But I was gonna say, as long as he's with Ganassi and he's with that 10 crew, I won't put. Nothing will surprise me as far as what heights he reaches success wise in IndyCar.
Even with Pato O'Ward and the Aero team improving, you have to think that he's the favorite going into at least next year. And going forward, until proven otherwise, he's the favorite. So there's no reason to believe that he can't. I just think there are too many factors saying he probably won't.
Yeah, and he's been so dominant at this point where if I see another driver win that is not Palou, you almost think it's a little bit lucky just because of how good Palou is. It's just unbelievable. And Power ran a great race today. A credit to that Penske crew for getting it done, their first win of the year. But even then, if Palou doesn't go off there with that little shunt with Lundgaard, I'm not all sure Power would have won that race. It's always a what if. It's a guessing game. We'll never know. But, man, Palou was really looking fast, and he had 30 seconds left of push-a-pass than Power did.
I'm going to guess that no one was happier than Will Power that Palou was not able to get around Lundgaard the first made it and then the second, because you have to know that Power was thinking, if Palou gets around Lundgaard, I'm probably not going to win this race. And but I just want to say, what a great, I thought this was one of the best road races and one of the best IndyCar races of the year down the stretch, because with Power, Lundgaard, and
they've all been great.
They have all been great, but I mean, as far as really the dramatic finish, you had 3. How many races have we had that you can say over the last 20 laps that 3 without fuel strategy or anything like that, that 3 drivers are actually in contention to win this race?
Yeah, it's been amazing. That's a good point. It wasn't even produced by a yellow at the end. Produced great racing.
Great race by Palou. Proved that he is the champion he is. Makes the last 2 races kind of anticlimactic, but that's okay. He still has a chance for tying and records. So great for Palou. Great race today. Good for Lundgaard. The guy that has to be thrilled is Power, who is probably about out of a job, and wins and saves Penske from having a blank year, a 0 year.
Let's talk about Will Power and the win today. Dave mentioned it. First win for Penske this year was 6 years ago. They last didn't win a race. Power's been officially now, I have to say, the best Penske driver this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a season where Penske has been so bad, Power has still been fairly consistent. He's obviously had a couple problems with some engines this year, but I think today is such a great win for Will Power. And for me, it's because of the pettiness off the track. Because at this race, we had on the number 4 car today with David Malukas had the Gallagher sponsor on the car, which is a Penske sponsor. And at that race where all the Gallagher representatives are there to meet David, they had a PR event. Who else but Will Power would get a win and kind of force Penske's hand in an awkward situation? I love it.
Oh, it was great to see Will Power win and hold on and do that. I just think he's handled himself with really tremendous class
most of the time
this season through all of that. And I kind of hate in his interview, it just sounded like he's almost resigned to the fact he probably won't be back with Penske next year. I believe it was you, Elijah, who said that could also be classic PR. I get that. I just was trying to look at his face and just read the emotions of his body and everything. And I think that's where I got that more than anything, is that I'm guessing that it's more than 50-50 in his mind whether he'll be back with Penske or not.
Other teams would be foolish not to sign him, though, right?
Oh, definitely.
I think it's just sad that, we're in a point in IndyCar where, Will Power picks up Team Penske's first win of an absolutely horrible season. And there's even discussions of him, not even signing a 1-year contract with Penske. I get Malukas is a great talent, but if I'm Penske, I think I'd be stupid if I didn't sign Will Power for another year. I don't care about his age. He's been the best racer of this team by far in 2024, and he's had just as many issues as Newgarden has.
He has.
It is a shame.
He's just more mature. He's a mature. He's the kind of driver I think you would want him to bring. You want his maturity to continue to be in your shop,
especially when you fire the top 3 people in your organization.
Yes.
Will Power. Who would have ever thought that Will Power would have been classier than Joseph Newgarden in the year that has happened? Used to be Will Power was the whiner, and he has stepped up with great maturity off the track, I believe, whereas Newgarden has not. And I think it's a done deal. I think he's gone, and Malukas is already behind the scenes signed. He's not signed, but it's commitment, and I would be very surprised. Will Power will be on a race team. I think the speculation is where. And if you want me to go out on a limb, I'll say with Rahal Letterman.
This has been Devlin DiFrancesco's best weekend in a long time, but I can't imagine he will be back.
He's out of the point circle, at the leader circle, and being in a team like RLL, I know they're not the upper echelon of this sport, but if you have 3 full-time cars and one of them is not in the leader circle, for a team as well organized and as established as them, it's just unacceptable.
And he also had a run at Andretti that was not successful, too.
Yeah, he's probably on the outside looking in, and let's give some kudos today to Graham Rahal.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And Louis Foster's had quite a year.
Louis Foster, he really reminds me of Christian Lundgaard, who was in that same predicament at RLL just a handful of years ago. You can tell Foster's got the pace. Ending in 13th today isn't bad, and seeing Graham in 4th climb up all the way from 22nd off of great strategy calls is exactly what you want to see out of RLL, and I think fans are happy to see Rahal up there. I think he deserves to be up there. He's been great for the series as a whole, and seeing that team up there is no doubt a positive thing for IndyCar as a whole.
Before we talk about the Fox coverage today, any thoughts on Rasmussen Daly dispute?
I just think it's almost due diligence by IndyCar series as a whole to set this precedent where if you have the racing line, you're allowed to just shove any driver you want off the track. Specifically on road courses, it's been a big problem this year. You look at Barber, Laguna Seca as well. It's not great racing. The series is not NASCAR. We have open wheeled cars where any contact can really lead into some big accidents. And we saw that today with Conor Daly. That contact with Rasmussen was very small, but that impact was huge.
They just got lucky he didn't roll.
Yeah.
I mean, and here's the thing. What I don't like about that is that's okay. But Dixon, who came upon Newgarden and really hardly anything, sends him off, and it's because he got there too fast. There was nowhere. I mean, it's not like
he just misjudged.
Nowhere for him to go. Yeah, misjudged a little bit, and he gets penalized. I mean,
made no sense.
It doesn't make sense. Its punishments are arbitrary and judgment. They're not really following a strict rule or pattern.
Right. That's what it seems like.
I have a little bit different perspective on it. I think Rasmussen and Daly both went after each other. It started, and they had a little bit of a tango, and I'm going to say Daly was just as upset. He went out of his way in there
because
they could have pulled them both off the track right then.
It started, though, with Rasmussen completely running Daly off the road in the first place, and then he did it again. And yes, Daly was not behaving properly, but he got ran off the road twice by the same guy, and it looked intentional both times.
They had little incidents here and there over the lap, but the stewards, they really only should be looking at the one incident that caused that accident, because that's what you should be penalizing. You shouldn't be looking at, oh, well, Conor, he got into him 3 corners back, so it was just a little retaliation. It's just not how it should work, especially when, that accident was really big. That was just, you just can't do that.
Let's talk about Fox's performance today. I thought the drone views and the low views and the track side cameras were phenomenal, and the production amazing. They caught almost every on-track pass. I think Fox is doing a phenomenal job as far as that goes.
I give them an A today. No question. No question.
They did a really good job, specifically just in those opening laps when you have Pato O'Ward pulling away. I feel like in previous years, it felt like, we're still watching those front runners, but almost immediately today, we're 3 laps in and we're not even focusing on the front runners. And honestly, that's all the fans want to see. We want to see those on-track passes. And I think Portland specifically, those cameras are so close to those barriers. It just looks like they're absolutely flying.
I agree. I think Fox has just gotten better and better and better with their coverage. And I love the fact that they try to find the best racing, the ones that are passes, the drivers that are fighting for position, switching, and not just staying with, the leaders or hung up on that. I think that's fantastic.
I think they've made a real commitment to IndyCar. I think they've really made a commitment to IndyCar there. And I think they are part owner of IndyCar. That solidifies that, hey, we're in this, guys. We're all in.
Elijah and I will be talking about that on the IndyCar report either this week or next week. We will decide that after the podcast. Thanks for reminding me of that day. All right, guys, the final results, and feel free to drop in at any time. Will Power, his first win since Detroit last year. Big day for him.
And a day Team Penske needed as a whole. Getting in that win column is huge for them, and even bigger for Will Power since he's going through contract negotiations with 2 races left. It'll be some popcorn to see where he ends up for 2026.
In second place, just a second and a half behind. It looked like for a long part of the day that he might win his first race this year. Christian Lundgaard. We did not get a Dane in victory lane.
He's going to get there soon, though. He's good. Errol McLaren is good. They are good. I know Pato didn't have a good day, but he had a great start to the weekend. And those 2 cars, hats off to him. And Christian just drove the wheels off.
We'll see about Nolan Ziegel, but the other 2, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Graham Rahal in fourth. We already mentioned great drive for him. I believe that's his second highest finish besides Indy this year, the Indy road course.
Like I said, with Will Power, that's a result they need. Any momentum heading into 2026 is what teams are really focused on now, especially if you're not fighting for a championship, because nobody's fighting for a championship anymore. It's exactly what Rahal needs.
Then Alexander Rossi, someone else who needed a big day, finished fifth.
I think it's a great race for ECR and Rossi. He was up there the whole time. It was a good weekend, a great finish.
And then sixth place, Callum Ilott. Man, the last 3 or 4 weeks been really impressive.
He's come out of nowhere the last 3 or 4 weeks. He has become very impressive, and he's trying to put his name out there for some big time, one of the biggies to take him.
Hey, maybe I agree. Prema is the biggie.
I think they could be. I've said many times on this podcast, Prema is institutionalized in every racing series around the world but IndyCar and NASCAR. And now that they're in IndyCar, they are taking some great strategy calls, seeing Ilott climb up to 6th from 24th. They're able to make those risky calls, and seeing him climb up and have such a great second half of the season is awesome to see from a team that's just in their first year in IndyCar.
Guys, when I used to say Penske had a really good day, that probably meant first, second, and fifth. Today, they having a pretty good day meant 1st, 7th, and 24th. Let's take it with a grain of salt, but Scott McLaughlin in 7th. In 8th place, again, Meyer Shank, another good day. Marcus Armstrong. It's been amazing how evened out this series has become this year.
It has been. And you look at Meyer Shank with that driver lineup. I know you haven't said Rosenquist, but he's in ninth right. He's in ninth right behind him. And I'm really interested, since they have that driver lineup for next year, to see what they can do with 2 full years together as a team, because they've really found a great formula to compete with a smaller team.
Yeah, they've become pretty strong. They're fun to watch, and Rosenquist has been knocking on the door several races this year.
Colton Herta was 10th, and Scott Dixon was 11th, despite being penalized stupidly.
Let's see, when he got penalized, I believe he was 5th or 6th, and at that point, it was just another Scott Dixon-like day, and he was Scott Dixon. He's just fabulous. That was a minor little incident, and oh well, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
This is 6 championships. He'll take them and be fine. And Christian Rasmussen finished 12th despite not being penalized stupidly.
Honestly, not a bad result from Rasmussen, even though he does some knuckleheaded things on the track. I'd be damned if every IndyCar fan doesn't just love watching him race, because he is just aggressive to another level that not a lot of drivers have.
I'm a fan despite him taking out my favorite driver today. I'm not going to turn on him. Louis Foster was 13th, Stingray Robb, nice day, 14th, and Robert Schwartzman, 15th.
Good job by all 3 of those. Those 3 guys are all trying to make a name for themselves, and they were steady. And also, I'm going to say, toward the end of the race, there were 3 passes when Will Power got around the person in front of him, and all 3 moved over with great sportsmanship and let the 3 race.
You just wish they do it at the 500 now.
Yes. In fact, I demand they do it at the 500. Make them get out of the way.
But that was good sportsmanship, and good to see, because, fans, we want to see the fight for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and, man, we had a great one today.
Great race today. Great race today.
Nolan Siegel, 16th, Renus VK, 17th, Devlin DeFrancesco, 18th, and David Malukas was 19th, despite him getting all the headlines and Power not.
Yeah, rough outing for Malukas as a whole, and AJ Foyt. We can really analyze their second half of their season. It's just been a little bit downhill.
Been rough lately.
They had a great middle of the season, and now it's, you're right, it's downhill.
Kyle Kirkwood was 20th, speaking of falling off.
Yes.
He was in 2nd place like 5 races ago, and now it's just been nowhere.
Yes.
But the ovals were coming back, so we'll see how Andretti does on the ovals. Kiffin Simpson, 21st. Marcus Ericsson, 22nd. Ericsson was one of those guys who pulled over. His was probably the nicest because he could have really messed things up. Jacob Abel from Louisville was 23rd. Joseph Newgarden was 24th. I did not hear him after the race. I can't imagine he was happy.
No, it's a shame that those little incidents happen all the time when you come out of pit.
He was running 14th. It was not good.
Yeah. No, and he lacked pace, and he didn't have a horrible qualifying, but unfortunately got hit with that 6th grid penalty place when you have to change an extra engine. And just unfortunate week for Newgarden, and forgettable season, forgettable race as a whole.
He'll be back next year.
He'll be back in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, he's at his home course, Lebanon, Tennessee.
Pato O'Ward was 25th, the end of his potential championship run, which honestly ended about 3 months ago when Palou won the first 3 races of the season.
It's probably the most unfortunate part about IndyCar nowadays, and it's been forever, but with the new hybrid, it feels like these little instances with the engines are more common. It just sucks to see a driver get taken out by nothing of his doing.
Conor Daly was 20th. Unfortunately, he was actually in pretty good position and was very racy with some good cars.
Yeah, I would have loved to see him finish that one out. Like you said, he was so racy in those opening laps, going 3 wide, too wide into most corners in that mid-pack battle. It's just a shame he got tagged in that incident, and I'll be interested to hear what he has to say on his podcast this week about it.
I saw what he said on Twitter, and it wasn't pretty.
No, it was not.
Go check it out, everybody. He called some people out. And then Santino Ferrucci did not get out of the first lap.
And he hit hard as well.
Yeah. And that was honestly a little bit of a rookie mistake, just spinning the tires out, getting on the power. Really uncanny from Santino, and he's really had a really bad second half of the season.
Still like that fit in that car.
Yeah, he's the guy.
Yes.
By the way, Conor Daly finished 26th, and he can still say, still finished ahead of Santino Ferrucci.
Back to the ovals. 2 more races.
Yeah.
And the ovals. I love it. And I'll be there in Lebanon, Tennessee.
So excited for the Milwaukee Mile, especially. If you guys haven't seen on Twitter, yesterday they got so much rain up there, the Milwaukee Mile was actually underwater. But today everything's drained out, looks good, and there's not a historic racetrack in the world other than Milwaukee Mile and IMS. They're 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
So it's always great seeing them on ovals.
It's IMS and then a large gap to Milwaukee, but they're still 1 and 2.
Of course.
Yes.
In case you're wondering what happened there, Dave jumped in a few minutes after we began, and Michelle had to leave before we went through the results. But thanks so much to Elijah, Dave, and Michelle for joining me. And thank you so much for listening. Please share this podcast with an IndyCar fan in your life and help spread the word that the Central Indiana Sports Report is here talking about Central Indiana sports every single day. Appreciate it. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITV Media. And I love Susie.